Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to Misinformation in Science and Society. Here to listen, not to judge. I'm your host Annie, and today with us we have Isabelle Freiling. Alright, welcome. Could you please introduce yourself a little bit and what you do?
Yeah, I'm Isabelle Freiling. I'm an assistant professor at the Department of Communication at the University of Utah. I do research on science communication, political communication, and I focus a lot on social media and misinformation, how people um, can be more engaged with science, something like that. Um, Anything else?
Yeah, that's awesome. So,
Okay.
uh, why did you choose your career initially?
Um, During my undergrad in Dresden in Germany, I started working at the department. I was involved in a research project during the German federal elections at the time. Um, and there I learned how to do research really in a project from start to end, because at the time in my undergrad, we had some courses that would teach us about the methods. So we would learn how to do the method, but then not really conduct a study. So that was the first time in that research project that I worked that I was involved in a project where we would actually do the whole project. And then
Hmm.
I saw, oh, that's why I'm learning all of this. That's why I need to learn about the methods, about statistics, and so on, because then I can answer these societally relevant questions. Um, and that was really fascinating for me to see. And that sparked my joy in research. And then I just wanted to continue. So at some point, I was like, oh, I definitely want to do my master's. And then I definitely wanted to do my PhD. And I just wanted to continue doing research. And I started teaching also quite early. And I also like to combine the research and teaching a lot. And so this naturally evolved from, I think, being involved in that first project.
Yeah, that's great. So, what's your favorite part of doing what you do now?
Um, that I can focus on questions that are societally relevant, where I can like see, hey, this is a problem that we're dealing with right now. We want to learn more about this, how we can tackle it best, and that is always, in that sense, something new. Because it's always changing a little bit. What are the societally relevant problems? For example, when COVID started, I did a lot of research on COVID, but then there are also new technologies coming up, or new science to be communicated. And I really like this focus and working together with um, people that are also like interested in that, getting new perspectives from my students when I teach. And so I really like that it's always a little bit new, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, why do you think that like truth and correct information is so important? And why do you think misinformation is such a big issue, especially right now?
Mhm. So, I mean, it's so important for us to have all the information in front of us, to be able to consider that and then form our opinion about an issue, and then figure out what we want to do based on that. So for that, I think it's really important to have the truth available, also have it reach the people that are affected by the truth on certain issues, right? And in that sense, we would want to like have the truth reach everyone who is affected by an issue, which connects very well to the second part of your question. That means if like there's too much misinformation and that reaches the people instead of the truth, that can influence how they form their opinion about an issue. And I really think it's important for people to have the information in front of them and then be able to form their own opinions, not like telling them what to think about an issue or something like
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, how do people like in your field try to like tackle or avoid misinformation?
that. There are different approaches. For example, some do fact checking, which means that after misinformation is out there, they are trying to correct it by laying out the facts. Um, and I mean, that is very fact focused, but oftentimes we make in the end sense of the information that ends up in front of us based on our values and opinions. So it's great to have the facts out there, but it might not be enough to like really reach the people if it's just like laying out the facts. So it's very helpful if you can connect it to the values that people might have, so that they see, oh, this is why this is relevant for me, or I like this, so now I'm paying attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then there are other approaches, like um, nudging people in a certain direction to hopefully induce a certain behavior, or trying to inoculate them with some weaker form of misinformation, basically like you would vaccinate people. But those interventions are often taking away the people's agency, because it's about like nudging them in a certain direction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that's very easily an ethical issue, because we should be able to make up our own minds and not just be nudged into a certain direction. So my concern with a lot of interventions, I guess, is ethical issues very um, easily coming up, and that we need to connect interventions if we intervene, if it makes sense in a certain context. It might not always make sense. Um, we need to make them in a way that they actually address how people make sense of information. And that's not always only just having the facts and just believing them immediately, because if they contradict what you believe on an issue, there's like this dissonance. So you might just not want to consider those facts. So you need to make it somehow relevant to people also, in a way maybe that they want to think about it, maybe speaking their language on the issue and so on.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So, um, what do you think is like the worst type of misinformation? Like misinformation about what?
Mm-hmm. So I guess the obvious answer is disinformation, the intentional uh, spread of false information that tries to mislead someone, but also not every misinformation in itself is harmful. Like the claim the earth is flat, what is it actually doing with people? People are not changing their behavior based on that. But
Mm-hmm.
a claim about something like wearing masks with COVID might lead people to act in a certain way with wearing a mask or not. So some misinformation types will lead people to act based on them, and others won't. And
Mm-hmm.
also if you look at where we come across the misinformation or information environment, some claims are maybe naturally picked up by algorithms because they seem like many people would want to engage with them. Maybe they are particularly emotional or whatever, but like some types of claims might just be spread more because of how they are phrased, and maybe what kind of picture comes along with them and so on. That is also a characteristic that can make a claim more harmful if it's getting picked up by algorithms and shown more to people in their social media feeds or on Google search or whatever. So there's different attributes basically of a piece of information, and depending on how they play together, the misinformation can be very harmful or maybe not.
Hmm.
And if it's not harmful right now, and for example, right now not getting picked up by algorithms because no one is really engaging with it, then we might also want to think about, do we actually want to intervene against this claim? Because if we intervene, we put more attention on it, and then it could also be that algorithms, because of our more like attention given to it, pick it up more because they think, oh, now more people want to see it, and then it spreads more, and then it can become more harmful. So it's basically also that the attributes can influence that themselves. They can intersect and make it more or less harmful in the end.
Yeah, I think that's like a really interesting point. And yeah, so what do you think would be like the best way for like a regular person, rather than like a big platform or like news people? So what do you think is like something that a regular person can do to eliminate or reduce misinformation in their life and just in the like around them?
Mm-hmm. Um, so the different ways you could learn more about how correct information looks like, that speaks into media literacy. Um, for example, if you use a platform a lot, you're more familiar with what's on the platform, and then you know, oh, this looks different, so this might not be that credible.
Mhm.
Or you can go and look at trustworthy sources, what they say about it. You can basically just double check if you see a claim somewhere, Google it, see what other sources say about it, um, and not just share it because it's coming from a person you like, and you just want to trust that person completely, or you want to support that person, but you can also just double check first.
Yeah.
We obviously cannot do that for every claim, because we just don't have the time and capacity to do that. But we can do it for the claims that we would like to share, for example, or that we would like to use later in a discussion. Because you might see a claim on social media and then meet a friend and want to talk about what you read there because you thought it was interesting. And before you talk to that person, you could also double check, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think those are all my questions about misinformation. I have like two like just fun questions, but do you have anything to add before those?
Um, no, I think I'm good.
All right, sounds good. So, um, what inspires you like in life? Like what are some of your inspirations, whether that's like a person, idea, book, etc.?
Mm, mm, I have two things. So one is um, to question what I'm thinking, not
Mm-hmm.
just believing it, because um, that would end up very easily in just like um, confirming what I like, but I
Hmm.
like to think about it, maybe look at sources that I expect to give me um, a different side of the issue. So I can like see what are maybe some counter arguments, so I can form my opinion better. Um, and the other thing is I really look up to one of my mentors, Dominique Brossard. She's at Wisconsin. She's just a very great researcher. And does also societally relevant research. And yeah, it's um, very cool. Like I like to look up to her, and I trust her to give me advice that would be helpful for me, but that's also a good advice in general. So that's something, yeah, that
Yeah,
also helps me.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And do you have any advice for people, especially like teens and like younger people?
Mm, I think that's very connected to my first like inspiration, to also look at arguments from the other side, and really try to listen to them. And that's something that I also tell my students in my classes. I want them to disagree with me when they feel like they have an argument that is evidence-based and better than mine, so that we can have an informed civil discussion about the issue and all learn from it, maybe adapt our opinion on the issue. And I think that's something in a world like today that is oftentimes very polarized that can help us a lot. Not only um, now when we maybe interact with some of our friends, but also looking into the future. I mean, your generation will be the leaders of tomorrow, right? So if we can, in general, try to listen more to other voices too, maybe it can lead to a less polarized tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, all right, thank you for that's all I have. Thank you for this and for like making time. Um, it was really nice meeting you, speaking with you. So,
Yeah, same. Thanks so much for having me.
yeah, of course. All right, take care.
Yes, well, bye.
Bye.